Thanks for staying with us. Let's bring you some more news from the state. Now, defending the government's stand on the Tamil Nadu Housing Board scam, Chief Minister Karunanidhi has spoken out and has said that many of the successive governments in the state have allotted houses under the discretionary quota. The top man in the state also said that while 85% houses have been allotted by a lot system, 15% of the houses have been allotted under the quota, which is meant for single women, senior citizens, journalists and PSU employees. And our senior correspondent Peer Mohammed spoke to us about more about some of those defensive strikes by the Chief Minister in this allotment case.
Yes, the Chief Minister is on the defensive in this housing scam, and he has also promised action, and he has quoted the Housing Minister I. Periyasamy, who had earlier promised action if there is any violations found in the allotment of houses, and also he has defended the action saying that earlier governments also, the previous regimes also allotted houses under the government discretionary quota and all rules were followed. And particularly the highest rate among the guideline rate, ruling rate and the market rate was fixed for those houses. There was no discrimination for the discretionary quota and the general quota. That is the justification given by the Chief Minister.
In other news, the Madras High Court today upheld the trial court's earlier proclamation that the Sri Lankan minister Douglas Devananda was an offender in a murder case. Upholding the 1994 order, the Madras High Court said that Devananda should either surrender before the trial court or get an anticipatory bail from the Madras High Court.
Proclamation effected by the court below is held valid. So the court not inclined to quash the proclamation issued by the lower court, and it has also issued some direction by way of disposing of the petition by giving options to the Minister Douglas Devananda by approaching by way of either by way of anticipatory bail or either he can surrender before the court consent.
Well, it's time now to bring you a feel of the markets tonight. Here's what the market wall looks like on Business Line. Markets have sold off for the second straight day in trade today. The Nifty and the Sensex both ending the day with losses of nearly just over 1%. The Nifty finally shutting shop above that crucial 5,900 mark, and that of course only sort of came in through in the last few minutes of trade. The market's down about 1.25% on the Nifty and the Sensex. Breadth of the market was very pathetic. In fact, for every one odd stock advancing and about 7 odd stocks that were actually declining. Broader markets as well. You saw the small cap index that saw a huge cut coming through, down about 3.5% in trade. Those are the top losers on the Nifty. Reliance Communication was off 3.5%. Reliance Capital lost up 3.5% in trade. DLF and Infosys were amongst the other top losers coming in from the Nifty pack. Well, also a quick mention, volumes also piled up towards the end. You had about 1.2 lakh crore stocks that actually were traded in today's session. Those are the mid-cap losers because that's where the big pressure point was. Ruchi Soya was down about 30-odd%. Uflex lost at 17%. KSOL was down 15-odd%. Kalturi Global also hit low circuit, down about 10-odd% in trade. Of course, remember, all these stocks have been muddled in some sort of the other controversy, of course. Well, banking stocks continue to sell off for the second straight day. Axis Bank was off 6-odd%. HDFC, SBI and PNB were amongst the other top losers coming in from the banking sector, as brokerages are now turning a little more cautious towards the space as a number of banks have actually gone ahead and hiked the deposit rates. Well, this was the only space that saw some sort of buying interest in green on the charts. HPCL was up 3.5%. BPCL IOC also gained in trade on back of that subsidy payout coming in from the government in today's session. So that was, of course, that space which saw buying interest. These were the rare gainers. Amtech Auto did decently well, up about 10-odd%. Volumes as well on that counter weren't too bad. Hexabec holding steady, 3.5% gains coming in for the counter. Mosaber also didn't do too badly, 2.5% gains in today's trading session. Well, that was a huge cut coming in for the Lal Street. A lot of those concerns domestic as opposed to anything global, but nevertheless, global cues will be important to see whether or not the markets are able to hold that 5,900 mark in opening trade tomorrow. This is the late night news on NDTV Hindu. Still ahead on the bulletin, director Miskin turns actor to add the Midas touch to Kollywood.